name is Reverend Ryan, and we are Soul Evolution Collaborative, a nonprofit based in universal spiritual principles, offering possibilities for navigating the evolution of life in an authentic and intentional way. And this is Truth Be Told 2.0, a weekly series bringing you inspiring and uplifting messages and hopefully new ways to look at the world. This month we are looking at living the unpackaged life. And this week we're exploring the awareness that for most, life isn't how they said it would be, whoever they are. So simply put, we have been conditioned to believe certain things are true, or we should do certain things a certain way, or we should be a certain way. Basically, all the shoulds. In essence, we are going to throw out the shoulds and begin to discover the possibilities that exist when we show up authentically and unpackaged. And this is also an opportunity for us to kick off a new series of webinars and workshops that will offer practical ways to do just that. So consider this month a little bit of an introduction to that. And we will step into this unpackaged life together. So sit back and relax and enjoy this episode of Truth Be Told 2.0.
You ever find yourself thinking, wow, this is not how they said it would be? They said, you can be whatever you want when you grow up. And then you grow up and life is not that way. Life is not structured in a way where it seems like you can be whatever you want. It seems like life says, you need to be this or this or this. Maybe you shouldn't be whatever you want to be. Maybe you should be this thing. Or if you want to have all these things that life says you should have, you should probably be this thing. It seems like there's a lot of expectations. Well, it doesn't have to be this way. Let's look first at why it seems like it is this way. It seems like life is structured in a way to insist on this packaged life. That you have to come out in this pristine, well-kept manner with everything all figured out as if there are no issues, everything is perfect and fine all the time. And we're conditioned to believe that life should look nice and neat and packaged. And if it doesn't, definitely don't tell anyone, don't talk about it, don't ever admit it, hide all that as much as possible because clearly there's something not right with you because no one else has any of this stuff. Everyone else shows up with their pristine packaging and well-kept lives, and everything that might not look like that is kept away, and we don't ever hear about it. That's what life conditions us to think. That's what we are shown, and that's what we see, and that's what maybe we're told, right? So we think we're the only one who has stuff that is messy. We're the only ones with a mess. And so it can feel like there is something wrong with us. Like, how are we the only one? Why are we the only one going through it? And while it's becoming more and more known that we're not the only ones, we still have this structure, this societal kind of undertone that everything's supposed to be figured out. You should have it all figured out and everything should be all packaged and nice. And so a lot of people pretend, or we fool ourselves into thinking like we've got it all figured out. Like, if I can fool all them that I've got it figured out, maybe I can fool me that I've got it figured out. Probably not a conscious thought, probably not a conscious system of thinking, but it's there, and it leads to toxic positivity. And toxic positivity can lead to ignoring the things that we actually need to be looking at or addressing or processing, the things that we've been carrying around our whole lives and really don't need to be, the things that are holding us back. In some cases, even trauma and hurt and pain. We ignore these things because it's supposed to look a certain way. Not looking at our stuff, avoiding it, suppressing it, not addressing it has a major impact on our life, which actually causes more mess. Showing up the way that we are told or shown we should show up with this packaged exterior, this packaged life, actually leads to like major pain, mental dissonance, right? Cognitive dissonance, this idea that what we're thinking and what we're doing are two totally different things, and it creates this rub, which again creates more discomfort, more pain, more suffering, more being bound to our own limitations. And then we add to this idea that we have to wait until we get it all together before we can show up. Like, all right, well, I recognize maybe that there are some things, and so I'm gonna let those settle and work that out, or whatever that looks like, and then I'll show up. Then I'll be me. And so we put on, again, this packaged exterior until we have this piece figured out. I'm going to show up in this way and then I'll be me, because then I'll have it together. Which then we're trying to show up in that packaged way anyway. So I'll put on this fake packaging until I think I can show the real packaging once it's all put together, which is also equally fake. And then we expect others to show up completely packaged. Our own discomfort gets brought up when they don't. And so we actually have issue with other people showing up unpackaged. So we have this expectation, hey, don't trigger my stuff, so you need to show up perfectly packaged also. We kind of strive for comfort. We strive for being in situations that remain comfortable. And so we only present the persona that we want others to see, or that we're comfortable being, so that they kind of return the favor and don't put any burden on us of showing up with their mess. They don't trigger our discomfort. We show up the way that we think they want us to show up, and then they'll show up the way we want them to show up. Or at least the way that we think they want us to show up. And then we become the whole thing that actually causes us to do this. We actually hold the belief as real that we need to show up in this packaged life. And so we actually end up creating that same cycle again and again and again. We become the thing that creates and repeats the cycle that a packaged life is, we believe, then maybe a requirement of life. And so this is what it seems like life is requiring of us. It seems like we are required to show up packaged. Yet, it doesn't actually have to be this way. So much of this includes parts of our lives that we actually have a say over. Thoughts and beliefs that we control. So, we can change our minds about a lot of this stuff once we realize we don't actually need permission. So, you are allowed to live your unpackaged life. While you're here, remember to hit like, subscribe, maybe even drop a comment. We would love to hear from you, and thanks for watching.
So what is an unpackaged life? What does that even mean? We rolled around a couple of words to express the concept we wanted to convey, and well, unpackaged for us spoke to the truth of a life we want to cultivate, and one that we want to help others cultivate as well. An unpackaged life is one that normalizes the experience of showing up authentically to ourselves, to the world, and to others, ultimately showing up authentically to life itself. And so part of showing up in this way is being empowered to look at what is, whether it is our own lives, the lives of others, or the things going on in the world. In this looking, we're not bypassing the very real lived experiences of our lives. And there's a recognition that challenges are a part of life, and we are not the only ones having them. We don't have to hide our stuff, ignore it, bypass it, or stuff it in order to fit into some idealized version of ourselves. The reality is, wherever we are, whatever we are experiencing, feelings or going through, is authentic, and it represents the fullness of life. An unpackaged life is one that acknowledges all experiences without the need to conform or fit into some mold that someone way back when said we should fit into. And when we set the intention to live an unpackaged, authentic life, we are able to begin to step out vulnerably with all aspects of ourselves and see and be seen. Now, this may sound a lot like vulnerability that we talked about last month, and you're right, it is. It takes vulnerability to live the unpackaged life. There's no way around it. When we recognize the truth of our own authenticity, that it comes with ups and downs and stuff we label desirable and other stuff we would rather not have, we reclaim or take back our ability to live unbound by expectations. Reclaim our ability to be who we truly are and not who others think we should be or should say we are. This is the unfiltered, raw, and unpackaged life. And when we can begin to experience life from this vantage point, when we are okay feeling all of our emotions, showing up messy sometimes, asking for help when we need it, saying no when we need to, and saying yes when we want to, being curious about underlying beliefs and frameworks that drive us, making mistakes, getting it really wrong sometimes, and getting it really right other times. When we can get comfortable looking at and appreciating the myriad of ways that life shows up, then we allow and invite others to do the same, building the skill of authenticity, building the skill of being okay with the uncomfortable. And in doing so, we step into living the unpackaged life. And when we begin doing that, there is no looking back.